First of all, I will. Oh, yes. Thank you. No, it's okay. I first of all express my gratitude to have been invited by Dr. Darshan and Shatab for this Science Education Ecosystem 2025, or acronym is C 2025. So let's see. Yeah. This word ecosystem, let's understand from the scientific perspective. Okay, there are certain distinctive features of what is called as an ecosystem. Though this is sounding very familiar to biologists, that is not my purpose. My purpose is that let's find out the corresponding elements in science education ecosystem. Okay, who are the biotic and abiotic elements, etc. What are the energy flows here? What are the nutrients here? And what are its defined boundaries and, the succession mechanisms, etc. So this is a very symbolic slide, perhaps to create some humor in your mind. But the word ecosystem is very important in the sense that I remember Rabindranath Tagore talking about it in different words. See, when you have a rose bud, you cannot make flower out of it by pulling its petals. Okay, what you require is the sun to appear, and the flower blossoms, and there is a fragrance and perhaps joy in the mind of the one who looks at it. All these are outcomes of the arrival of sun that represents the ecosystem. So in education or science education also, we cannot get similar results just by pulling the petals, but by creating an ecosystem. So the importance that the organizers have given, especially Dr. Darshan, to the ecosystem building is of fundamental importance, because most of the places we see in education system or elsewhere, even in corporates, that too much of effort goes in bringing the business results without building or enriching the ecosystem. Our company also does a huge business in India and abroad, but our focus always has been that business is not something which is to be done. Business happens. What is to be done is enriching the ecosystem, and the results come effortlessly. So that's why the difference is between outputs and outcomes. Outputs are some things that you put out effortfully, and outcomes are something which come out effortlessly. But why they come out effortlessly is because you build the ecosystem. Today, the central problem before us is that in the colleges, the undergraduate institutions, there is a lot of rush towards engineering colleges, and very few people who are really interested in science, who have potential to do something great later, do not come to the science colleges. I was a science teacher in Ferguson College, and of course I left that 38 years ago. But that time there were no engineering colleges, private engineering colleges. So several of my students are nuclear physics professors in US, etc. Because that kind of people with potential used to come to learn physics. Now the challenge before us is how to attract talent, how to divert them from engineering colleges and bring to doing science. I will attempt this problem head on by focusing on what are the immense career opportunities which exist in science education, so that we will have demand from the students rather than we have to pull the students. Second important thing is that I have met at least 2,000 college principals in last 2 years in telling them about NEP. I was member of the Maharashtra government's NEP, steering committee for higher education, Dr. Mashelkar committee. So in that respect, I met almost 2,000 principals. They say that the students don't come to the colleges. If at all they come, they don't enter the classrooms. And somehow they quickly visit the lab and finish off the work by copying the journals and things like that. So this is the situation. Now, this is happening because youth actually likes challenges. And we have failed to give the challenges before them. Youth and their parents, they want jobs. And now we have an opportunity in various ways, and I will unfold them before you, how the millions of jobs will come to the science students and in very near future. Third important thing that I want to set as a context is that the jobs in IT industry are reducing. Okay, large number of layoffs are there. And in companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, etc., Cognizant, etc., in last 15 years, there has been net decline by 70% in the absolute terms in the salary. So we have interesting situation before us, and if we make good use of it, we can really do wonders in the coming years. Dr. Darshan said that perhaps something cannot be done in few weeks, etc., and I agree with you. But one great success story, and all of us are beneficiaries of that, is Maria Montessori started the Montessori school in a very area of lumpen element, very dirty place in Rome, San Lorenzo. And within 1 year, that school was the place for visit by even the presidents of various nations, even in 1 year, 1907. So if a scientifically correct approach is taken, what happens is a glaring example of that. Let us set a context for this great career opportunities that are coming before us. The climate change is a big context, and these are various words that you must have heard, and so many of them, I will not repeat them. But climate catastrophe is almost around the corner. And the nature of the disaster is seen in various ways. Okay, look at it from the scientific point of view so that you will get the context. These are some of the glaring pictures that I will present to you initially to set the context. And most of these things that have happened in front of you, I have taken purposely is the pictures in last 10 years so that you should not feel that the climate change is just happening last year or so. It has been set in motion since 2012 in a big way. And these are the challenges before us. As you see, all these slides will be left here with the organizers so you can consume them peacefully with the limited time that I have to go fast. In one night, there was a loss of 50,000 crore in Kerala, 2018. And these are various pictures that you can see. Okay. This is Mumbai. This is similar repetition in 2017. Okay. This future is not too far. The CO2 emission fact sheet is in front of you, and there are policies. The references that I used are here. And what are the responses? The Green New Deal, from European Union. Then there are our National Climate Action Plan of Government of India, and many such targets are there. There are sustainability development goals before us, which I have classified in economic, environmental, and social pillars. So the compulsion before us is sustainability, energy, economy, employment, etc. Normally it is said that higher education, the sector of higher education is for solving the problems of the society. However, currently the situation is that society is solving the problems of higher education. Okay, we have to reverse that. The real glaring problems of society we have to confront directly. So there are certain compulsions, there are certain imperatives, and there are certain desirable directions. Now we'll discuss the imperatives. Imperatives are there in front of you. Okay, that is climate resilience is a policy that we'll have to do. And these are the kind of resilient measures that you can see here, how people are doing things. Okay, so how they respond to the imperatives. Now these are some of the new species which are being done, drought-resistant species of maize. Okay, this rice which stands for almost 17 days of waterlogging in the. So there are people doing great things, and there are certain new directions before us. Okay, and this is that you can see from where you have to go, and we have to create a new world almost together. What is the difference between the application of financial capital and enrichment of natural capital? You will see this here. Okay. What happens? I hope you are able to read from the last time. Apurva, are you able to read it? No? Okay. So what we do is corrective spendings, but what we have to do is actually preventive spendings. Okay, so this is where our policies have to shift in terms of enriching the natural capital. So the skill mandate before us is that of literacies, competencies, and character qualities. Okay, the literacies are known, the competencies are like everywhere they are said that critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, communication. But now there is a green competencies which are necessary. And in terms of the character qualities, you normally mention the grit, okay, the passion and perseverance for a long-term, very long-term goals. But in addition to that, and initiative, etc. But more importantly is compassion and eco-sensitivity. So we have before us for science education these three pillars: the literacies, the competencies, and the character qualities. In next few slides, I will show you what are the opportunities for green collar careers. Okay, and I'll give you the clear estimates of how many number of jobs, how they will emerge by 2035, and how we have to drive the system towards it. They impact all the three: social, economic, and environmental developments. Okay, and we need better jobs for creating a better world. We have to go for knowledgeization. That is, we have to cut down the material input, energy input, financial capital input, the dumb labor input, and replace it by the knowledge input. And thereby we have to create a planet which is having these less footprints. Okay, so from the sustainability to regeneration. And these are the various careers and various sectors before us. Okay, all these sectors largely are driven by basic science education, and later one can get into research and things like that, solving the real problems of society. Now the circular economy is coming up in a big way. You must have seen that FICCI and CII and everybody has now set up chapters on circular economy. The people from chemistry perhaps may be more interested to immediately look into this. Okay. And sustainability is now not just a CSR or something, it's a core function of business, and people are paid more, those who bring sustainability in their companies now. So that has started world over. So as this diagram shows, you have to go from sustainability to a regenerative future and regenerative cultures. Okay, it's a long path, but with right education and right policies, this is possible, and perhaps it's a compulsion also. You cannot escape this. So, and education system is the first one which should respond to it. Now, what are the subsectors in this? These are various subsectors, and let's see quickly what are the roles available in various subsectors. Okay. And you can see and go on and on and on, you know. These are all jobs which I showed you in circular economy. Now these are in renewable energy. Okay. So large number of jobs are being created. Now these are in natural resource management. Actually, I hate this word natural resources because there is a Descartesian vision that nature is something to be consumed and you are a consumer outside nature. That has created all this. But I'm using this as a regular word in the colloquial this thing. So this is for clean air, the careers for clean air. And when I say this, one context I would like to set before you, the National Green Tribunal of India, cumulatively up to last year, has levied the penalties for non-observance of these things on government organizations and others, on state governments, etc., which is to the tune of 79,000 crores. Okay, so it's a reality that I am presenting before you. Okay, and day by day those penalties and fines are increasing. There are court cases why we should not pay the fine, etc. But the reality is those penalties have been levied formally. In the water sector, there are similar jobs. In the health and sanitation sector, waste management sector, there are jobs like this. Okay, I know that you may not be able to grasp these slides quickly, but I want to just set the tone before you so that you think of a right science education ecosystem and set a correct agenda for science education. Because what is currently lacking in science colleges is that they don't have any concrete agenda for the future. Education is always for the future. When a student enters in, he should feel that my future is being created here, which is absolutely not there currently in most of the science education colleges, because they are lacking any agenda for the future. We have to create that agenda, and that is what this lecture is all about. So in the textile and heritage sector also there are several jobs. In the farm to fork is a huge sector where large number of green collar jobs are there, so and you can consume these slides later. For example, if you see this soil microbiome, my wife is director of Bioinformatics Center in Pune University. You will be surprised to know that Norwegian university students come every year, and she takes them to the farms around Pune, and they are discussing only soil microbiome, and lots of research funding is there. More of my wife's students go to Norway every year, and they settle there, solving these kinds of problems. Okay. Now, biochar is another area where they are entering into. So, green collar is in. It's not a future or something to be done by somebody else and Western societies, etc. Climate science is almost we are not teaching in science colleges. Okay, we have left it to IITM and few institutions, which is a central theme for our survival. Transportation is a big sector. Green construction is another. For the green chemistry, green advocacy. Not that all science students actually land up doing science. Some of them become journalists, advocacy experts, etc. So in science communication also there are lots of jobs like these, which are shown here. So basically, I have shown you hundreds and hundreds of job opportunities which are open before us today, and people are ready to pay for it. How many jobs are there? I'll show you a little later. So basically, these are some of the compulsions of regeneration of natural resources and rejuvenation of ecosystems, circular economies, and basically remaking the ways we make the things. Okay. For example, I've got one book, which even if I immerse in water, doesn't happen. It's a recyclable and upcyclable material. When I hold it in hot water, then I can clean it and print it again. Okay, so the new ways of making things as we go ahead. Repairing the damaged planet is a big job, and controlling up to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay. We have another national priority before us. We are talking about what is called as Vikasit Bharat, in which we will have to set very high goals on these two types of indices. One is the developmental indices, and second is the competitiveness. For example, global talent competitiveness index, we are far behind. Perhaps we are also behind Indonesia, etc. So I have shown you several indices below. So we need to catch up on that. We have to also offer aspirational and yet sustainable lifestyle to millions of Indians. And we have to create a peaceful future, prosperous future for India. And normally these things are done by the thinkers and apex thinkers and scholars, and these things, they shape the future, they set the policies, they convince the politicians, So unless they are correctly educated in their college days, this doesn't happen automatically. The another thing is the issue of poverty and inequality. The solution for that is knowledgeizing the products and productizing knowledge. Okay, this is what we have to start in our science education courses. Some examples of this is when you go to the patent databases, we never expose our students to patent databases. Why I'm saying this is because when you buy a smartphone, there are at least 200,000 patents that are being purchased by you. You are giving the royalty on that. So thousands of rupees of smartphone that you spend doesn't go for that material. It goes for the royalties on the intellectual properties, and the money flows out. So if you see the motorcycle that the students use, okay, what are the patents that are, means the motorcycle or the scooter are so close to their heart, like the smartphone, that if you start science education through that, then it suddenly becomes very meaningful, And I've shown you the exact numbers of US patents also on this. And so knowledgeizing products and productizing knowledge has to be the central theme of curriculum in this. Now this is their popular device, the smartphone, and you can see out of 200,000 patents, I have picked up only 5 which are core physics patents, okay? They are not engineering patents, they are core physics patents. And this is the direction, therefore, is how to create knowledge-intensive products and how to help exports. Because without that, the wealth is not going to come. US economy, if you see today, the 35% of US GDP does not come from agriculture, industry, or service sector. 35% of US GDP, almost exceeding $8 trillion, comes only from royalties on intellectual property. Okay. So unless you build that kind of economy, you cannot become a Vikasit Bharat. Okay. So that starts from your education sector, especially science and technology. So the opportunities are there in IR4, IR5, okay, and the exponential technologies which are coming out of basic science, okay. So, for example, the sensor technologies which are coming, the sensor ecology is almost around us. So each sensor is a field of wealth creation today, okay. So, and this is the scooter, and this is the money. Okay, purposely I have put one more column here, not just showing the patents, but also showing the estimated. Of course, there is a caveat that by various resources and by various calculations, I have filled up the column of estimated revenue. It is not just directly available anywhere, but various strategies are used to find out how many million dollars you get on these patents, okay, from the manufacturers of to the OEM, etc. So basically, what I'm saying here is that physics education or chemistry education has directly to do with money and the national wealth and national progress. So the science teachers, researchers should be very demanding before the government as to this is the wealth we create, and therefore you must invest into this education. Okay, so and you can see that these are the kind of basic principles of physics that we teach in undergraduate science, which are used in this. And these are the key concepts which are used in the smartphone, including relativity. Okay, but we never teach relativity by using the examples of smartphone. Okay, that is unfortunate. We keep something very dull, drab, and just writing equations on the boards and inflicting boredom on the students, and that's why they run away from the back doors and they never appear for the second lecture onwards. Okay, this has to stop. Physics has to be very, very entertaining. Okay, and it's full of activities and interactivities. Nothing to be done more or less on the blackboard or something. If I don't say anything about drones in today's lectures, I will not be trendy. Okay, so here is a study on drones, and we can teach physics, a lot of physics, by bringing the real life example of drones, not necessarily only the advanced combat drones I would like to say. Okay, so basically, therefore, we have to move away from mere foundational mastery to the future readiness. Okay, that is the message. And foundational mastery is also not being accomplished, unfortunately so. So, and the green collar jobs typically refer to, these are the various sectors in which you go. Okay, now the estimated jobs. Okay, total number of jobs by 2035 with OECD, G7, EU, etc. means only developed economies is close to 700 million. Now look at the green collar percentage. I have taken these 4 resources for my studies, and by studying their reports, after I got the call from Dr. Darshan, these are the numbers. Okay, these are the numbers which are the jobs for your students. If you correctly align your curriculum, science curriculum, and mention that here is a job for you, and I will give only admissions based on merit. Okay, so like there is a demand. Okay, we are not done enough marketing also. Our curricula are also old. They are not integrated. So now look at this. Okay, the percentages are shown here in terms of the total number of jobs to green collar jobs. Okay, and when I say green collar, that includes physics, chemistry, mathematics, statistics, life sciences, data sciences, computational science, etc. Okay. So let's take only the moderate transformation which may happen in the world by 2035. With the moderate transformation, these are the numbers. Okay. So summarily, what you see is something like 100 million jobs under the moderate green transformation which will be created afresh, new. These also include the jobs on disaster management. Okay. And the breakdown of this is something like this, okay, from the renewable energy to the data analytics. There are various drivers for that. There are various policy drivers for that, which I have enlisted here. So we have to study those drivers and align our curricula based on those drivers. And this is the typical, estimate of domestic jobs and jobs abroad, okay, in the green sector. My actually expertise is in the new collar jobs, okay, because we teach digital technologies. But from the science education perspective, now the imperative of time and the compulsions of time and the opportunities are here in the green collar sector. So basically, we have to have these 4, focal points before us. Okay, multidisciplinarity, which is mentioned as a central theme in the NEP. Okay, and up to the job readiness. This is just, as Dr. Darshan rightly said, that everybody will have some solution, multiplicity of solution. Don't go by this as a singular proposal made by me. This is just an attempt to show you what can be done in a 4-year degree program. Okay, instead of calling this as BSc, I was tempted to call it as BGSC, that is Bachelor of Green Science, okay, to make it more marketable product, so that large number of people can be attracted to learn science. So you require, the program is supreme, that we have to create a great science education, but it requires strategies as well as tactics. Okay, strategy without tactics is adventurism, and tactics without strategy is opportunism. So we have to avoid both these things. Okay. So year 3 can be something like this. Year 4 can be specialization, internship, and a capstone project, which will be a real life project. That's why I used the word capstone. and it break up in lectures and labs and internship, etc. can be something like this in hours. Okay, I'm considering 1,200 hours per year, very serious learning hours, no bunking, etc., or no dilution. Okay, day by day in our national credit framework, the definition of credit in terms of the number of hours is diluting. You must have seen they came from 30 hours to 15 hours, now from 15 to 13 hours. I don't know the recent figure. Okay, recently what I have heard is 13 hours. Let's concentrate it. Okay, students want to learn. They don't want to get out of the classes. I have personally seen in several colleges I visit continuously, there is an enormous enthusiasm and attentional intelligence, and if you have something to give them, there is a neural lock-in for 2 hours, 3 hours. It's not that their neural lock-in is only for 5 minutes. Okay, let's not get into wrong conceptions about the youth. And these are the features, special features of the curriculum. Okay, so there will be international skill certifications, parity with international skill certification as a part of the BSc program. Okay, and communication, cross-cultural diversities, because many of them will have to go abroad. Okay, because green-collar jobs are to be necessarily first performed abroad because the emissions and footprints are largely from the developed economies. So we have to repair those economies first before we do anything in India. Okay, so, and there is a current attraction in the minds of the parents that their child must go abroad. Okay, so now he should not go abroad for the IT jobs, but for the green-collar jobs by studying fundamental science. Okay, and these are the kinds of career pathways which are there. Just 10 I have enlisted. I have shown you large number of them earlier. Okay, and these are the kind of estimated jobs in each of those pathways. Okay, these 2 slides mention that. Okay. So basically, these are the employers kind of categories in which perhaps government may jump in eventually, because government jobs are shrinking, but government may have to enter into this in a big way. So mastery of concepts and mathematical foundations have to be good. Integration with emerging technologies is necessary. Promotion of research and inquiry-based learning. Okay, and I have mentioned NIUS also here. Okay. Social relevance and interdisciplinarity, skill development and diverse careers. Then scientific temper, very important. Many places, even the scientific method is not taught in the science colleges. Okay, just a small experiment I will tell you. Charles II was fond of doing so many experiments. Robert Boyle and Robert Hooke and William Harvey, all his friends. Returning from the war, he came and started doing more of the work in the laboratory rather than looking after the kingdom. One day he came and told his scientist friends that, he had a bowl of water in which he dropped a fish and weighed it. Then he took out the fish died. He again put it in the same water and again weighed. With the dead fish, the weight was more. Okay, so he said, why? So all the people in his court started putting the conjectures. And when all of them finished, they all looked at King as to which one he selects. And to the utter dismay of all and to utter surprise of all, he said both the times the weight was same. Okay, and then when I ask this to science students, they start giving conjectures. Okay, so before thinking why does something happen, you have to first ensure that the thing does happen. Okay, then only start thinking why it happens. But basic scientific method is not being taught currently. Then alignment of NEP and global standards. Now just look at this picture. With the kind of technologies that we build in MKCL, we generally do like this. Okay, so in the same classroom, different credits can be learned. I brought a bouquet of 275 credits. When I went to the colleges, they said, no, we want only 3 out of it. I said, the multidisciplinarity, choice centricity, why it is there for the students, So look at those 10 words which I have written below. These are the foundations of, NEP. Okay, so all these 10 things have to happen simultaneously. So you have to go to some kind of digital education, some physical education. So physical and digital, it's like a blended model is not what I prescribe. I prescribe hybrid model because there is a greater yield in that, not just combination of the two. And what we do in this is like this, each student can learn different credits. So now there are large number of colleges in Maharashtra where our 275 credits people do. Initially there was a lot of resistance to accept this system because there was no belief that students learn themselves. Okay, they said we don't have teachers who can teach so many courses. We don't require so many teachers. We require mentors and those inspirers for this. So summarily, I would mention that you need our curricula has to change it for the career readiness. Out of this, you will get also good researchers about which I will not play this video now because I will.
It's a glass.
Okay.
So if I bring this object exactly at that glass wall, and if I'm clever enough to let it go with 0 speed, it could not break that glass. But if my hands shake a little, and if I give it a little push, then of course it can come back, and it may want to go higher than this, and that would mean I know you guys. Students love it when the glass breaks. That's why they pay such high tuition at MIT. Now comes an experiment, which is emotionally the most difficult for me of this whole evening. I'm going to put my life on the line to show you that I'm really a believer of the conservation of energy. And you will see how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the place of the glass. And I'm going to hold this object at my chin. And I cannot move any further back, so there's no cheek here. I'm going to release it right from my chin. You realize, as you have just seen, that the slightest push, and this will be my last lecture, and no book signing afterwards. And I have to tell you something. I couldn't sleep all night. I'm going to close my eyes. I don't want to see it. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 0. But if my hands shake a little, and if I give it a little push, then of course it can go back, and it may want to go higher than this. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, I think I'll stop here. I have many more slides. You can enjoy them later. There are in all 207 slides I have made for you. You can enjoy them later. My time is up. I have already run out of time. Thank you so much. I just wanted to show you how science education can be entertaining and still very enlightening. Thank you. Can I take out my laptop now?